Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I'm Jackie Mori, and I'd like to invite you to this Saturday's virtual book launch party. What are we going to be discussing in this virtual book launch party? Well, first of all, this virtual book launch party is available to anyone who has internet access. In other words, if you have internet access, you can be in Asia, you can be in Africa, you can be in Europe, you can be in South America, you can be in North America, or wherever you are. As long as you have internet access, you are invited to this virtual book launch party. And I'm so excited about this because we get to launch all of our authors who have completed their books. They have written their books, they've gotten their books edited and published on Amazon. And I want to show you some of the books that we helped our authors launch last year in last year's masterclass. Here's someone who is going through the second time around. This is her second masterclass. Her name is Barbara Moore. And this was Barbara's book last week. Not last week, last year, Lean In Closer with God Because You Can. And then there's Dr. Becky, who authored two books. Her first book was When Dreams and Destiny Collide, and her second book, The Ultimate Treasure Hunt. So Dr. Becky has been through two of the Your 90-Day Launchpad Masterclasses and has authored two best-selling books in their international best-selling books as well. And Pamela has authored two books, Dare to Dream, The Art of Co-Creating with God, and she also reached bestseller status. Who else? Well, last year, Jane Huff was with us twice, and in both masterclasses, she hit best-selling author status. Her first book was An Intimate Look at the Armor of God. Her second book, God Speaks. Both of them best-selling books. There's Michael Mastriani authored this book, College Planning, The 10 Biggest Mistakes and How You Can Avoid Them. Best-selling book. And then Bill Fudale, he authored this book, From Zero to Six-Figure Sales, with these 5 game-changing strategies: breakthrough, self-sabotage, and fear to live the life you desire. And then in last year's masterclass, Carmen, we call her, and she calls herself a cool senior. See, she's a senior citizen, and I believe she's already in her early 80s, and she authored her book. So you're not too young, you're not too old to author your book. She wrote a book entitled Overcoming Trauma Without Completely Falling Apart. And these are just some of the books that we had launched last year in last year's masterclass. So this Saturday, you get to experience brand new authors, and a couple of them who it's their second time to go through this proven system, Your 90-Day Launchpad. Now, here are some of the things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you these things. First of all, let me change this. You're going to discover behind the scenes stories about our authors' book writing journeys. You know why this is valuable? Because if you want to write a book and there have been things that perhaps have been blocking you, or maybe things that have been hindering you, you get to see you get to hear the behind the scenes stories of our authors who overcame whatever obstacles that they overcame in their own book writing journeys in the last 90 days. And then what else? Well, we're also going to talk about how to avoid 3 myths that people believe about what it takes to write a book. You know, I want to share a story with you. Last year, there were 2 or 3 of our authors, actually 4 of them, who had their books inside of them. Guess how long? Decades, folks. Maybe I'm speaking to you. Maybe you have a book inside of you that you've always wanted to get written and get published. Maybe it's been years, maybe 5, 10 years. Well, these authors that we launched last year, the longest one I think had his book inside of him for 40 years. And you know what's so special about his story is 2 months after we launched his book in last year's masterclass, he reached best-selling author status. 2 months after that, he passed away. But what a legacy he left for those that have come behind him. Now he has his book that his friends, his colleagues, his relatives, his immediate family members, his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren can buy on Amazon long after he's gone. And he's very special to my heart because he was such a dear protege, such a dear student. And I was so honored that I got the privilege of coaching him to go through the 90-day masterclass and get his book written, published, and then he was launched to bestseller status. Okay, what else are we going to talk about? Well, you're going to learn one game-changing strategy on how to overcome practically every obstacle that blocks most writers from ever completing their books. So I'm going to be sharing with you about all these things, and then our authors are going to be sharing with you about their books. But not only are they going to be sharing the behind-the-scenes stories, but they're also going to give you their books. They're going to give you a complimentary copy of their books. So you're going to leave with a stack of books. It's a quote-unquote stack because it's going to be the Kindle version of their books. So you're going to be leaving with a stack of books by the end of this virtual book launch party. It's going to be the best approximately 1.5 hour of your weekend. It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific this Saturday, April 8th, and we're going to go for approximately about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, depending on the interaction with the chat room and interaction with you, our live audience. Not only that, but we're also going to give away prizes. Some of the prizes I'm going to be giving away are books that are best-selling books on New York Times. This is a book by one of my favorite authors. His name is Jeffrey Gitomer. And this book I'm going to be giving away in the contest. It's called The Little Book of Leadership, the 12.5 Strengths of Responsible, Reliable, Remarkable Leaders that Create Results, Rewards, and Resilience. So that's one of the books that I'm going to be giving away during the live contest. You have to be at the contest. You have to be at the party live. If you are not in the party live, then we'll have to draw another name, okay? And I'll know your names because you're going to register for the live event. Now, if you register and you're not able to attend, no problem. You can still watch the replay because we'll have the replay available for, I believe, probably a little bit longer than 24 hours. And the books will still be free at that point. But after that, by April the 10th, the books will go back to their original price. I'm also going to be giving away this book, one of my favorite books. This book impacted me the very first time I read it back in I think it was about the 80s. I think let me see when it was first copywritten. Let's see here. Anyway, this book is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey, and it has sold over 25 million copies, and that's how good it is. The subtitle is Powerful Lessons in Personal Change. Okay, 1989. See, copywritten 1989. So this book has been around for a while, but it's still a best-selling book. Why? Because the content, what's inside these pages, have impacted many lives. Thousands, if not millions of lives, over 25 million copies sold, like I said. I'm also going to be giving away this book by Sheryl Sandberg. It's called Lean In. Sheryl Sandberg is the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook. She is one of the only females, one of the only women in their C-level leadership, the C-level leadership at Facebook in the boardroom. And the title is Lean In, subtitle Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. It's a #1 national bestseller. So I'm going to be giving away this book as well. And I'm also going to be giving away other prizes. So you will definitely want to attend as much as possible live. And if you can't attend live, if it's, in the middle of the night, your time, whether it's if you're in Australia or if you're in Southeast Asia or in Asia, and it's a time where you're asleep, register anyway, because you'll get the replay link and then you'll be able to watch the different books that are being offered, and you can download those books. But you have to watch the replay within, I would say, 36 hours after we start, because I cannot guarantee you that the price will remain the same. In other words, zero. It'll be free to you, right? Okay, I want to leave you with this. A couple of things. I have a quick story about this book. This is a very special book to me. It's the 21st Century Legacy Letters, Volume 1. And why is this special to me? Because it was written by my mom and dad. And I'm going to be giving you a free copy of this book, the Kindle version, during the live virtual book launch party. Well, now what's so special about this book is that my parents are in their 80s and early 80s. And I recorded 2 interviews with them back in October of 2015. I interviewed my mom first, and then I interviewed my dad. And then the internet, for whatever reason, got cut off. So we had to do a second interview of my dad to complete his portion of the book. After I got the videos of the interviews, here's a tip for you. I want to give you a lot of value as you're watching this Facebook live video, or if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you're watching from. I want to give you this incredible gold nugget. It's a gold bar, I should say. I recorded the 2 interviews, and then I had them transcribed. And from the transcription, I edited, and then I helped my parents write this book. The subtitle of this book is 17 Legacy Lessons. And I want to read to you part of this book that I want to inspire you with. Because this is a true story, and this is something I wrote towards the end of the book. I remember the day my friend told me that her dad had just passed away. This impacted me on several levels. But what impacted me most was the fact that she had told me that for the longest time, her dad had wanted to write a book about the stories of his life. And now he was gone. And no one had captured these priceless stories. It was too late. And see, I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that to be your story. If you're a parent or a grandparent, or if you are, a son or a daughter, and you want to have your parents' stories captured in book form, you want to preserve their legendary legacy, you want to capture the anecdotes, the life stories, their legacy lessons, maybe stories from when they were younger. You want to capture that? Well, one of the best ways is to capture it in a book and then present it to them as a gift to them and let them know, Mom, Dad, look, you have a book. You've written a book. And so I just want to let you know that I just got this today it was delivered by UPS, and I got this today, and I am just so honored that I had the privilege of interviewing my mom and my dad and preserving their stories, because in every chapter, my parents share at least one story per chapter. And so I asked them the question, Mom, Dad, what 7 to 10 legacy lessons would you leave to your children, to us, your children, and to your grandchildren, and to your descendants that follow after you? And those are the questions I asked them in order to prepare for the interview. They prepared their answers. I did the interviews and then had it transcribed. And then now the result is a book. All right. Well, I want to leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein says, learning is an experience. Everything else is information. So I want to invite you to register for the live virtual book launch party. I posted the link to register. It's right there at the bottom of the screen. And I want you to experience this virtual book launch party, because you can learn by, listening. You can learn by maybe reading, but it's different to actually experience it. It's one thing to read. It's another thing to actually hear the author's behind the scenes stories. It's another thing to experience being with us live, to experience being part of the live contest, to experience getting these books and hearing what what these authors were thinking about as they were writing their books. What are the takeaways? Because they're going to be sharing at least 1 to 3 of their best takeaways, so that when you download their books, you'll know when you get this book, when you read this book, their book, this is what you can come away with. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me live. And I want to invite you again. That's the link. Please register. I'm also going to post it in the comments in everywhere where I'm going to be sharing this post. And please, my encouragement to you, join us live if you can. Register, reserve your seat. And I want to give you the opportunity to win these prizes, and also to get our author's new books, and also to discover, avoid, and learn the things that I just mentioned, and experience learning on a whole different level. I'm Jackie Mori. Live a life of significance and leave your legendary legacy. Have a great day. Goodbye.